In ancient times, when people went to war, they took their weapons with them. In today's corporate world, we professionals carry our professional qualification, nothing less than a weapon that we use to compete in the professional world out over there. Now, Shiv Mehta, he himself walks and talks the CFA professional qualification, and he is here today to highlight why CFA is for you or why not do CFA. So first of all, Shiv, how do you feel to be here today? And tell us about your story. How did you yourself fall into this love of the CFA subject?
All right, Ahmed, thanks for inviting me firstly today. Well, CFA as a journey, I started off in 2011. Prior to that, when I was 18, I was working in BPOs. Right. But then I had to move out of it and do something meaningful in my life, and obviously to increase my salary. And then the first thing that I stumbled upon in 2010 when I wanted to leave the BPOs was I was trying to search for whether I should get into a technology role, whether I should get into a finance role. And it's something that, I did not know whether I'll be able to achieve anything in finance or technology because the background in graduation wasn't there.
Right.
So I stumbled upon a course called as CFPs, firstly, Certified Financial Planner.
Okay.
This is a course which helps, professionals. It makes a professional for helping individual clients with their financial plans.
Wow.
And during my first lecture for CFP, I went on and met my teacher over there who was teaching me investment planning. And as you're aware, CFA is related to investments.
Investment and finance.
And on the first day, I was able to solve some questions faster than anyone in the class. And he came up to me and told me that you should try CFA. That's when I first heard about CFA. Nice. And
that was 13 years ago.
Yes, 13, or in fact, now 14 years ago. So my first class, he told me that you should go for CFA, and I had absolutely zero idea. And plus, he also told me that he failed the CFA. So I was really, I found it very intimidating at
that
first.
My mentor failed. How am I going to succeed in that?
Correct. So I went on and checked about CFA. I met some other mentors, another institute where they taught CFA. There I met another of my mentor. He gave me some questions in the first class because I was learning investment planning, and he gave me some questions. He gave me 20 odd questions to check whether I can do CFA. I got only 2 wrong. As in, I got only 2 right over there. But he saw something in me, and he said that you should go for CFA. And then I started off my journey with him under his tutelage. And what he told me was that, your goal is to get 70% above in all the subjects. And you are going to teach this from next, term onwards. And that's when I pushed really, really, really hard. And I was able to get 70% above in all the subjects. And 1 week after my level 1 exam, I was in the class teaching quantitative methods, which people are afraid of.
Wow.
So that's where I stumbled upon CFA, but that was not it. I never started off to teach the CFA. I was interested in stock market during my CFP course. I used to watch some news channels, but never understood them because CFP just covered everything from a top level. But then once I cleared my CFA level 1 and I went back and tried to understand, what these news people are trying to say, I was able to understand, I was able to grasp everything. And, I was able to create my investment analysis, my macro analysis very nicely. And I could help my friends, my colleagues, my family in understanding what is happening around in the financial world.
Wow.
So that is what CFA level 1 gave me. Then CFA level 2 got me ready for the job. I gave CFA level 2 in 2013. I got ready with, for the job over there. I was able to learn valuation of different asset classes. That's what CFA level 2 is all about. I could learn valuation of equity. I could learn valuation of fixed income. I could learn valuation of real estate. And that's where I got my first break into credit ratings. Although credit ratings per se in itself is not covered in a lot of detail in CFA, but The CFA as a journey helped me out in how to forecast financial statements, how to, although there was a little topic on it. So I had a framework in my mind on how to do this job
Right.
in credit ratings. So I was working at a rating agency in India. Post my level 3, which is about knowing the strategies of how you manage both individual and institutional portfolios. I learned all of that, cleared my exam in 2014. But then I got my first break into investment banking and private equity. That's where the real thing started for me.
So talking about these 3 levels, Shiv, I like how you've said level 1 gives you the introduction, gives you the vocabulary to understand the language of financials when they talk about, to be able to listen to these news channels. Level 2 gives you a bit of a professional gear up, which will prepare you for workplaces. And then level 3 takes you to the top tier strategic level. I really like how you've layered them down. And not just that, I'm not sure if you noticed, Shiv said, I was interested in stock market. And interest is the main recipe of your professional qualifications, I believe. And not just that, you mentioned you went ahead, you researched, you tried to understand the qualification before you walked into it. And I think that applies to any professional qualification. Don't just do it because someone said so. Research it, as you said. Do you agree with that?
Absolutely. In fact, I did a research of 6 months before I jumped into this journey, because I had to know what kind of commitment is required from my end. Because CFA CFA Institute prescribes 300 hours of preparation for each of these levels. But I had to go ahead and do it for 400 hours, primarily because I wanted to teach this ahead. And that's what the aim was, right? I had to, do something which my mentor had asked me to do. Firstly, get 70% above in all the subjects. And the goal was there because he himself got 70% above in 9 subjects.
Right.
So my goal was to get the perfect 10. And that's the target that he gave me. And I had to complete that. So that is why I went ahead and did 400 hours. But if you have some background in finance, you might be able to do it in 250 hours. But then do some research. Why are you doing this? See, as a CFA charter holder or anyone who wants to start the CFA journey, firstly, you need to have that interest in investment and stock market or bond market. You need to know how will you be able to make money. I see a lot of people right now, they just see other people making a lot of money and they want to jump the gun, especially cryptocurrencies. I mean, it's very difficult to understand cryptocurrency just like that, or stock market just like that.
My God, it was a talk of the weddings. Nowhere where I sat, whether it's friends, wedding, social gatherings, people asked me, have you invested in crypto?
Correct.
And I was a victim of not understanding crypto, and I never invested in that, which thankfully I'm very happy about today.
Correct.
But you're right. Understand these things before you walk into it, right?
Correct. And for that matter, if you want to understand it better, CFA level 1 is a major, it's going to be a good starting point. And then move ahead, do CFA level 2. CFA level 2, as I said, helped me get into the different kind of roles I wanted to get into, like investment banking, private equity. I then did equity research in Deutsche Bank. Every interview I had to go through, I had to look at my CFA curriculum. So it's that close to what we do in reality. It's been prepared, the curriculum is being prepared by investment professionals. It's not prepared by academicians, which we see in an MBA, for instance. Mostly the course is prepared by academicians. Here, the course is prepared by professionals, investment professionals who are working in the market, who have worked in the market. And that kind of learning is what is asked in interviews, and that helps you get the job done.
Right.
Now, when you go out in the market.
I agree with that. In my opinion, people always think of CFA as an investment related qualification. Do you think it is for other accounting professionals also? Or if they are not interested in stock market, do you think they should take on this interest? Me, as an exhibit in front of you, I have done ACCA, and that's the only professional qualification I did. I believe in quality, so I went deep into it and understood it. Why would you advise me to take on CFA? And what do you think could change in my life if I was to take on CFA as a qualification?
So see, firstly, let's understand, where does CFA work? CFAs primarily, historically, since 1960s, were money managers. And that is where the qualification started. The first few set of charter holders were money managers, portfolio managers.
Right.
But since then, the levels have expanded, and we are seeing people not only in equity research, credit research, we are looking at people within a company becoming CFOs. You can be within a treasury function managing the clients, managing the employer's investments, because right now most of the employers, if you look at it, whether you are in a manufacturing sector, whether you are in any services sector, whether you are in an education sector, there is always an excess cash that is kept. How to use that cash? You need a proper treasury professional sitting over there, an investment professional sitting over there who could manage that money. Investing in money markets, for instance. Yes.
I remember doing that as a finance manager. I used to give advices to the companies how to invest the idle funds. So I think any accountant can utilize and capitalize on this knowledge.
Absolutely. See, as an accountant, all you're doing till now, historically, accountants were related to just recording a transaction. But now the roles for an accountant are becoming more strategic. Mm-hmm. So they not only have to just record a transaction, but they also have to give strategic direction to a company by looking at a lot of KPIs, for instance. And your knowledge that you gain from CFA, because there is a topic of corporate finance over there as well, which they now call it as corporate issuers. That gives you a detailed understanding of how an accountant can become a strategic player within a company.
Wow.
And how he can use his CFA knowledge in terms of helping out the CFO, for instance, in how to raise money.
Right.
And then at what cost he should be able to raise that money.
And how to manage that.
And how to manage the investments of that money. So in CFA, you also learn something about capital budgeting. So how to do project appraisals, the process of project appraisals. So this is the extra knowledge that a CFA gets. But apart from that, you can also be involved in, let's say, M&A transactions. Or how to do fundraising for the company.
Wow.
So this is, and for that you need to know how to do valuation, right? That is where the CFA level 2 knowledge comes into the place. And at a lot of places within these firms, right, you are going to use derivatives for risk management. Wow. And CFA gives you a detailed understanding of derivatives. It starts with a 5 to 6% weightage in level 1. We just give you a high level overview. Level 2, the weightage increases. And level 3, the derivatives is amalgamated with other asset classes as well.
Nice.
So you get a lot of knowledge of how to manage risk within an organization.
Amazing. Now, Shiv, I have some top 3 questions which were asked to me, and I thought you're the CFA expert to answer. And you've pretty much answered that question, one of the first questions, which is, can I only do one level and stick to it? Or am I obliged to go till the end?
See, I always suggest that CFA level 1 gives you an understanding. CFA level 2 opens a lot of doors. So at least cover CFA level 2 if you do not plan to manage clients' money. If you plan to manage clients' money, yes, ideally you should go for CFA level 3. But CFA level 1 and level 2 gets you ready for any kind of job that you want to do in finance.
Excellent. I like how Shiv is linking your qualification with your exposure to work. So if you have a deep exposure, go all the way down. And if you're at a mid-level exposure, stick to level 2.
Correct.
And the second question I was asked is, how long will the CFA take me to complete?
Great question. So historically, what happened with CFA was that it had 2 windows for level 1. One window in June for level 2 and level 3 each.
Right.
So the journey used to take more time.
Right.
So for me, I gave my level 1 in June 12, then level 2 in 2013 and level 3 in 2014.
All right.
And I could complete this journey within 3 years, 2.5 to 3 years. But now,
all 3 levels.
Yes, all 3 levels in 3 years, 2.5 to 3 years. Minimum you would take is 2.5 years or 2 to 2.5 years historically. But after COVID happened, and what we saw was CFA moved the exam to computer-based and they increased the windows. So now level 1 happens 4 times a year in February, May, August, and November. Level 2 happens thrice a year, May, August, and November. And then level 3 happens twice a year, which is August and February for that matter.
Right.
So anyone, let's say, who starts the journey now, he can give his level 1 in November, level 2 in May, and then level 3 in February. So which means you can become a CFA, or you can clear all the CFA levels within 1.5 years.
Wow. Interesting.
So the journey for any CFA candidate has become smaller now because of the windows that we have. The thing that you might want to ask me is that whether you can clear all these 3 levels in this
One
frame
and a
of
half
time.
year.
Yes, you can, and that is what is recommended. Once you start your CFA journey, you should complete it.
Right.
It's very important you complete it. The reason is everything that you learn in level 1 is used in level 2. Everything that you learn in level 1 and 2 will be used in level 3.
So like any professional qualification, it's a
Correct.
skill which keeps getting utilized as you move up the timeline,
Correct.
as you move up the hierarchy of these subjects. Now, to conclude, my last question that was asked to me was, is it difficult or not? Now, me being a tutor, I know that question on its own doesn't have a lot of merit, because anything you understand is easy and anything you don't understand is difficult. But still, how would you advise accountants considering CFA? Are they going to find it challenging, especially for the ones having no financial background?
So see, CFA, when you talk about the content isn't tricky, especially at level 1. An accountant, in fact, will find it advantageous for himself because there is a topic on income statement, balance sheet, and accounting and cash flow statement that is called as financial statement analysis.
Okay.
They'll find that easy, no doubt about it. They will find the journey to be very easy. They'll find the content to be easy. The only trickier part about CFA is that there are 10 topics which are tested on a single day.
All right.
Unlike any other professional qualifications where you learn about a topic, like ACCA for instance, you learn about a topic, you give an exam.
Financial reporting.
Here there are 10 topics which are related to each other at some level, but they are also different. You are being tested on that on a single day. So which means you are going through a very large curriculum, and your power to retain information will be very, very important.
Wow.
And for that, we need this 6 months journey. So you first complete all the topics, all the chapters for the first 4 months, and then you get into the revision phase. And that's how you can clear the exam very easily. Same thing with level 2. You will find level 2 and level 3 easier if you know the prior levels and the information which was shared with you in prior levels and you've understood them. You will find the levels ahead to be slightly easier. You'll find those levels very tricky if you've forgotten or not understood the information which was shared in the prior levels.
So once again, that reinforces your suggestion
Correct.
of finishing it in 1.5 years. So
Correct.
you remember and skill up yourself in each of these levels. So
Absolutely.
again, any professional qualification might be challenging in the start. Once you get a hang of it, you start, swimming through the qualification all the way to the end. Now, that was about CFA, and that was about Shiv, the man who walks and talks CFA himself. Now, thank you so much, Shiv, for coming here and sharing your thoughts with us today.